All right, you guys. So I was actually just going over some footage that I had previously recorded from down in Daytona Beach for Bike Week 2022. I came across this clip here. So this was the SportyMob Sportsters Ride Out event. SportyMob had organized it. It was pretty close to the last day we were there. I was a little bit upset because at this point I had already broke one of my GoPro mounts. I broke the microphone to the inside of my helmet, so I have to do a little voiceover here for this one. So there are a lot of good bikes out here, a lot of good people. This bike in the right hand corner here was a low rider. It was an older one. It had the Evo engine. It was all done up. Bike was absolutely gorgeous. I talked to the owner of it. We were going over some of the specs and things that he did to it because, as you guys know from previous videos, I started out on a 93 Dyna lowrider. It was almost the same setup as that bike there, except mine was pretty much factory, besides a couple things I did to it. There were a bunch of really good riders out here. So it was really cool to see all the Sportster guys getting together, all the Dyna guys coming out, and everybody was supporting each other. A lot of the guys that I came down to Daytona with either were on Sportsters or started on Sportsters. So it was good to see all the different setups here. This was an open bike event, so you had a lot of guys on really nice Dynas. You had a lot of really nice Sportsters, a lot of work done to them. Right here, I started talking to Geo Chops. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on YouTube. He has a 2020 Iron 1200 that he highly customized. Chain drive kit on it. He did the bars, the risers. He had a smush plate, I believe they call it, on the back. Deleted all his turn signals. He absolutely destroys this bike. So if you guys want to see some really cool stuff, he's got a lot of really good drone footage that he's been recording with one of his good friends. Absolutely amazing, the edit that they do for his stunt riding. And he's a local guy. He's real close to me, so it's nice to support them. But he is absolutely wild. He does not care. He rips this bike like it's a 1989 clapped out 1200. So really enjoy watching him ride. He is really good, and I like to support all these local guys. Right there is Violent Willies. You can find him on Instagram. Fusco. So we had a lot of heavy hitters in our group that weekend. These guys are really good on bikes. Fusco is the one who's been in some of my previous stunt riding videos. He rides a purple Dyna, and he absolutely destroys that bike. I was talking to him. He said he had 2 years into riding Harleys, and just to put it out there, he's probably going to be one of the most formidable guys coming up here to compete with. He is completely dialed. He makes this stuff look super easy. Same with Violent Willies. Tyler Risden, absolute monster on his bike, either his Sportster or his Dyna. He makes them look super natural, super comfortable, and super easy. And when you go out to see these guys at one of the vulgar events, they are absolutely humble people, and they are amazing on their bikes. So if you are in the Ohio area, I would highly recommend going and seeing these guys perform. It is well worth your time. The things that they do on these bikes are absolutely amazing. The amount of control that they demonstrate on these bikes is mind blowing, especially for guys that are young in the game, that are getting into this here early age, not really having that much time into the game. They are absolute monsters. So it's going to be great to see how far these guys go in the industry, to see how much progress that they make going forward. So definitely recommend anybody that checks out any of the Vulgar events. So Vulgar is a clothing company that supports the community of stunt riders, and they're putting on a bunch of great shows all over Ohio. I would highly recommend anybody in this area goes to their events. These guys are really cool. They'll give you a good time, so it'll be worth every minute you spend there. So back to this event. We all met up at the racetrack gas station. It was on the International Speedway Boulevard, a little bit past the International Speedway. And this footage here is just me walking around, checking out some of the bikes. We got there a little bit early, and we were actually waiting for a bunch of other people to get there so that we can organize this ride. Like I said, I destroyed my GoPro. The external speaker was not working anymore. The housing that was holding it to the helmet was completely broke. So I had to order a new one when I got home, but I'm just trying to make the best with what I got. This bike here caught my eye as soon as the guy rolled it into the lot. Absolute gorgeous bike here. The seat with the color matching on it, the paint. I mean, it was just a really nice setup on this bike here. I love seeing these FXRs. I love checking them out. So it's great to see these younger guys, this younger generation, getting into the older bikes, putting the money into them, building them up. Now, one thing that I have noticed is throughout that new scene emerging with these younger guys getting into these older bikes, we are noticing that the price of the older bikes is going through the roof. Here is HD Daytona Willys. He has one leg, and this dude destroys motorcycles. Riding Willys, limiter burnouts for days. That guy is a great time. I highly recommend if you could see him at any show, you go check it out. Very cool thing to see there. So it just goes to show you that there are no limitations here. If this guy can do it with a prosthetic leg, there's no reason why anyone else can't do it. Now, getting back to the event, a lot of these guys here are well known locally. If you're involved in the stunt community, you obviously know Vulgar. So we waited a little bit for everyone to get here. Once everyone got here, it got a little bit wild. We had a couple people stunting in the parking lot here. There were some young kids that wanted to see some of the crazy stuff we were doing. So there were a couple Willies that went down in the parking lot. Just a good time. Everybody out here having fun. I just enjoyed being around and checking out all the different setups on the bikes here. So to me, seeing how people set their bike up for the way they ride is absolutely awesome. I like to check out what people are doing, why they're doing it, kind of look at the different things out there. I take from some things that I see and get ideas for things that I want to do here going forward. So it's always a good time to go out to these bike events, see what kind of custom work these guys do to their bikes, and get ideas for what you want to do with your own bike. Kind of set them up depending on your riding style and what you want to accomplish with your bike. Just like what I was talking about earlier with these younger guys getting into these older bikes. So we are noticing a higher demand for the older bikes. I know that right now I'm seeing older 2000 Dynas, 2003 Dynas going for, ten to $13,000 depending on how modified they are, how clean they are, how clean the original paint is. So it's something really cool for me to see because I started out on the older bikes, and when I got into them, nobody wanted them, nobody rode them. It was almost embarrassing to be caught on an older bike. Everybody wanted the 6-speed transmission and all that stuff. And, for me, it was always about the nostalgia of the bike, and the older ones seem to have been built a little bit better. So I really like seeing it. I think it's awesome. Harley did do away with the Dyna platform. They ended up going with the Softail lineup. So now any of them older Dynas are highly desirable, especially the Timken bearing bottom end Dynas. Those are going for heavy money now. Those are what everybody seems to want in the stunt community. So it's just amazing to see how trends start and develop and where they go from there. So this is when we all started pulling out. As you can see, there were a lot more bikes arriving than when we got there. We were kind of the first ones to get there. The group of guys I went with, we were all kind of the first ones to get there, which we thought we were late when we were leaving the hotel. So it was great to see how many people showed up. This guy up here has his wheelchair on the back of his trike, and it was awesome to see him. I believe his license plate was from Colorado. He actually had both legs were missing. So that is absolutely amazing to see somebody on a bike with no legs. He had a jockey shift on there, so he was actually riding wheelies, like breaking that front tire up on that bike. It was amazing to see. We got a little bit wild here on this event. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happened. We started at the racetrack gas station. We went all the way up through Daytona, hit the loop, went around a little bit. It was supposed to rain, but we missed almost all of the rain. So in front of me was a large group of guys. They were all riding wheelies. They were doing limiter burnouts. They were just having a great time. So it was great for me to be in this event and kind of meet a lot of these guys, especially when a lot of them were from areas close to me. So we like to give a shout out to all the Ohio riders because we don't get that much time in the year to ride. So when we do, we really take advantage of it. There are a couple guys that will ride year round with me. I used to have my 98 Electra Glide out in the middle of the winter all year round because that bike was a little more comfortable to ride in the colder weather. But as you can see, these guys were just having a blast. It was great to have everyone out there. There were a couple crashes. I do know a couple people ended up setting bikes down. My GoPro ended up stopping recording, so I didn't get a lot of footage. That's my dude right there, Caleb. He was out on the Grom. He was riding wheelies like crazy. So this being an open bike event, it was pretty cool. You had everything from sport bikes to Groms to Dynas to road glides, street glides. It was just really cool to see everyone together and supporting each other. So, needless to say, Daytona was a great time. We did get a lot of good rides in. It just so happened that almost everything technologically that I had on my motorcycle for filming videos ended up breaking or breaking down on me. So did as much as we could to get you guys some footage here. I found this, so I just wanted to get a video up, kind of show you what the day looked like, what we did, what to expect in any one of these events that we get into. So going forward, you guys, I'm going to try to get up another one. I do have about an hour-long video of the loop, me going through the loop in Daytona. It started pouring down rain on me, but I did get some good footage of going through there. It's an absolute gorgeous ride. You have trees draping over the road the entire time. It is a historic road. There is a state park through the middle of the route. So I highly recommend, if you go to Daytona, that you guys take some time. You get out here, take the loop. Don't just spend all your time on Main Street hitting the bars, which is all right if that's what you're into. But the loop was really nice. We went down to Palm Bay. They had a Harley Davidson out there. They had a stunt show out there. So I got on the bike. I took the hour ride down there. A lot of people didn't want to do that run, but it was well worth it, and I would highly recommend it. If you guys go down there next year for 2023, make sure you hit the loop at least once or twice while you're down there. Enjoy yourself. Get out to some of these bike events. They put on some really nice events down at Bruce Rossmeyer's Harley out in Daytona. So I will probably not go next year, depending on the situations and what we find going on. I may skip that event and I may go to Laconia. So I've been going to a lot of motorcycle events in my life, and for some reason I've never been to Laconia, even though it is kind of on the East Coast and I'm on the East Coast myself. So we're going to get out there. We'll get you guys some footage of Laconia probably next year. It happens to fall on my birthday every year, so that will be awesome. We'll get out there for you guys and try to get you some footage there. I do have the Sturgis trip will be coming up here soon. There's a lot more events, local events that are coming up, so we're going to get you guys some more footage. We're going to keep you guys going. And just like I said here, this is just me kind of talking over some of the footage here. Wanted to let you guys know what we did and show you that no matter what, even if it was raining, we have a good time no matter where we go. And there's no excuse not to get on your bike, get out there and ride, enjoy the weather, even if it's raining. These bikes still run in the rain, so get out there, no excuses. Let's get some miles on these bikes. Let's have fun. Pay attention to what's going on. Support your fellow riders, and let's grow this community. Let's get some younger guys on these bikes. Let's start building these older bikes. Let's start buying these newer bikes. And this is the lifestyle we chose, so let's get out there on two wheels, you guys, and be safe and enjoy the ride.